Okay. Hello, everybody. Very simple today. Obama is worse than Chamberlain, and here's why. All right? It's pretty simple, folks. It's very, and I'm going to say hi to Gracie, and I'll say hi to Stefan, and to Justin, thanks for joining, and to Israel Shield, thanks for joining. Very, very simple. This should only take a few minutes today, and any questions or comments you have, please send it in and I'll deal with it. Why is Obama worse than Chamberlain? There's a very simple lesson we learn in life. If you don't learn from history, you are deemed to repeat it. Now, why Chamberlain? Why was Chamberlain okay, or why isn't he as bad as Obama? In terms of modern history, Chamberlain is the first world leader on the world stage acting on behalf of other countries and leaders who made an agreement with an aggressor. He made the Peace in Our Time agreement with Hitler. And it was the biggest mistake. At the time, Hitler and the Nazi regime were an aggressive regime, and yet he appeased them. They cut up Czechoslovakia. Israel Shield. Hey, Avi, keep up the awesome fight for Israel. Thank you so much, Israel Shield. I can only say the same thing back to you, and it's a pleasure fighting for Israel together on the internet and Meerkat. So Chamberlain made this appeasement. Up a country. They cut up Czechoslovakia. Okay? They gave away, he on his own decided to cut up another country to appease an aggressive regime. That was Chamberlain. But he didn't have history to learn from, so he thought he was doing the right thing. And yet we have Obama today. Why is he worse than Chamberlain? While Chamberlain made a mistake, Obama can learn from Chamberlain. You do not appease an aggressive regime. Whenever you do appease an aggressive regime, you whet the appetite of that aggressive regime and make them even more aggressive. It's very simple. And yet Obama is going wholeheartedly, pushing full throttle into this Iran deal. I would have more respect for President Obama if he would come out and say, you know what? There are problems with this deal. I'm not 100% secure with it. It might not work. And anyone who has concerns, bring them up. Let's talk about them. If there are things we can tweak, we'll tweak. But you know what? I did the best I could. He's not saying that. He's not saying I did the best I could. He's not saying your concerns are valid. He is not interested in any concerns. He is dissing everyone's concerns. To go into a deal with the most aggressive regime of your time, and today that's Iran, a state sponsor of terror who's killed hundreds, if not thousands, of Americans over the decades. To go into a deal and say, everyone stand behind me on this deal, not taking any concerns seriously, he is horrendous. He is a horrendous leader. He is a horrible leader. He's not leading. He's acting like a dictator. A leader is someone who makes a decision. He might make sure it's the final decision. But lead your people. Communicate with your people. Interact with your people, not just the ones who support you, but the ones who have concerns about your plans. So why is Obama worse than Chamberlain? Because he is ignoring the biggest lesson of them all, and that's to learn from history. If not, you are doomed to repeat it. And I know I've read that Obama is personally hurt that he's being compared to Chamberlain. Again, is that a leader? A leader who goes public saying, I'm personally hurt? If you know your own people, your own constituents are comparing you to Chamberlain on good cause, it's a very simple comparison. And all he relies on is then to rely on his emotion and his feelings. He's hurt. No, leaders are not supposed to express that they're hurt. I mean, you are human too, you can. But you're supposed to take that insult and go back to the people and explain why it is incorrect. He's not doing that. He instead relies on the basic emotion of people. He's not going to fact and trying to engage with those who disagree with him. He's going over the heads of the people he disagrees with to touch with people who are ignorant and don't have enough information. The president is hurt. Oh my God, my president is hurt. I'm not going to make this comparison anymore. Really? Is that a world leader? Someone who goes to and focuses on emotion instead of focusing on fact and engagement with your constituents? It's horrendous. Now, why is Obama also worse than Chamberlain? Because while Hitler was horrible, Hitler was not 100% clear to the world that he wanted to commit genocide. He did not say that. He did not say, I'm going to commit genocide. He did not say, I'm going to subjugate any non-Aryan. That wasn't something he aired in public. People who might have known his philosophy or read his book, Mein Kampf, might have understood partly what was behind Hitler and the Nazi ideology. But he did not go out saying, I'm going to kill a whole nation of people. I'm going to kill and enslave everybody who's not Aryan in order to better the Aryan race. That was not said on megaphone for the whole world to see. So Chamberlain might not have totally understood or known the true intentions of Hitler and the Nazi regime. And yet we have the Ayatollahs of Iran who say straight out they want to destroy Israel. They want to destroy America. Death to America, death to Israel. And yet what? How does Obama and Kerry react to that? Yes, they say that, but it's rabble-rousers. They're not rabble-rousers. They're the top politicians of Iran with tens of thousands of people screaming at it. It's the politicians of Iran. It's the mullahs of Iran screaming death to America, death to Israel. And Obama doesn't take it seriously. He scoffs it off. So not only is he worse than Chamberlain because he's not learning from history, he's worse than Chamberlain because you have an Iranian regime whose actions are terror, whose actions are human rights abuse of their own citizens and others, and yet he totally ignores the reality. And he tries to tell you to ignore reality. And then he says this Iran deal is good. No, the Iran deal is horrible. It is horrendous for humanity. Another thing he says is, this is going to better, that if the economy of Iran gets better, then Iranian people will have more of a voice to create change and regime change. Are you nuts? Obama's trying, I'm telling to Obama, he is trying to convince you, the ignorant constituent, and mislead you and lie to you the facts. It's a theocracy. Iran is a theocracy. People don't have a voice. The 150 billion he's allowing the theocracy of Iran to have means that they're going to be even more strengthened to do horrible things and terror and human rights abuses against their own constituents. That's not going to help them have a regime change. It's going to make it even worse and harder for the Iranians to have a regime change. Obama had a chance to do a regime change. The Green Revolution, the same time as Mubarak, the anti-Mubarak revolution. And Obama stood by and did nothing and allowed the Iranian people to be slaughtered in the streets. They were waiting for America. Help us in our revolution like you're helping Egypt. And Obama did nothing. So his track record is there of standing by the mullahs of Iran. It's not just today and letting them have this Iran deal. It's already years that he's standing by and allowing the Iranian leadership, the mullahs, the Shiite mullahs, to rule with a heavy hand on their own population and have terror around the world. So everything is out there showing that Obama is not just as bad as Chamberlain. He is worse than Chamberlain. You do not learn from your history, then you're doomed to repeat it. What's the repetition? The repetition is if nobody stands up to stop Iran in its terror and its quest for nuclear armed capability, then we're going to have even worse than a Nazi regime trying to overtake the world and causing havoc and mayhem and killing and murder. That's what Obama is ignoring. So he's even worse than Chamberlain. He's totally ignoring the true signs that are there. Even worse than Chamberlain, who didn't have all those signs like we have today. That's it for the Meerkat today. I still, like you, anyone who knows me, I am a realistic optimist. The world will be a better place, not because of Obama and his policies, but despite Obama and his policies in dealing with the Middle East. Under his 7 years, the world has become more mayhem. I'm not going to go into America, but right now with Ferguson, people can even say that even America is unraveling right now in certain places and in terms of race division that didn't exist before he came to office. But I'm not going into America. I'm an Israeli citizen and an American citizen, but I'll leave America to you. I try to deal with Israel and the Middle East. But he's making the world worse on the foreign policy level, on the geopolitical level. But I'm a realistic optimist. We will survive. We will do good and create good, and I believe that the good that will emanate and be brought to the world is from Israel. Europeans are just as bad as Obama, willing to sit back and for money reasons, willing to let Iran go nuclear. They just want their money. They just want their big business deals. It's horrific. So the Western leadership is totally out to lunch and allowing the world to go crazy and become worse and let the Muslim jihad just grow in every corner of the world. Where will the light come from? The light will come from Israel. How? I don't know. I don't know. I don't think you know. I don't think anyone knows, but I'm a realistic optimist, and I see how Israel is dealing with our situation, with our challenge, and in terms of the values we stand up for, we try hard, even though sometimes it's challenging, and we don't always do it the best way, but light is coming from Israel. I have David Avery saying amen to that, Avi. Thank you, David. Thank you. I appreciate that. And so stick with Israel, side with Israel, get the facts of everything going on, be proactive in terms of looking for the facts. Help us. We have videos, IsraelVideoNetwork.com. Find them, spread them, share them, educate yourself, help other people become educated of the truth of Israel, the Middle East. We are all together going to make the world a better place. Thanks so much for joining, and have a great day.